And then,
Oh,
Okay, I'm starting to work.
Hi, Paloma.
Hello, hello.
Hola, hola.
Hola, Adriana. Hola a todos, si nos escuchan.
Yes, hear you. We'll get started in just a moment.
Gracias.
I just thought everybody can go on over.
Right.
Not like.
Right.
Well, you didn't.
I felt it great. You guys see this? This vlog.
Yeah, correct.
Like 30 minutes. It's like,
That was fun.
Paloma and Adriana, are you guys the interpreters for today?
Yes, sí.
Okay. So typically what we do is we'll start the meeting and then we'll give you a moment to share out like instructions on how to go to the different Zoom rooms.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, just a quick question. My sound is a little bit choppy.
Can we test it out? Because mine's too.
Because probably your microphone is too far away from the computer. And so we need to hear exactly clear enough to be able to interpret. I'm sorry.
Okay, can you hear me now?
I
I
could.
hear you clear. But can everybody taste their voice, please?
Hello?
Hello. Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Okay, for the people that are farther from the computer, do you mind speaking a little bit louder? And just a quick reminder, if you need to read something, just read it at normal pace. Do not read it too fast because Spanish is a little bit longer than English, so it takes us a little bit behind for our
Interpreting.
rendition. Yes, please. Thank you.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks, Paloma.
Thank you.
I can. Okay. Okay, we're calling this meeting to order, beginning at 6:02 p.m. We do want to let the community know that we do offer this both in English and in Spanish. And then translators, if you can please announce yourself, please.
Ya, buenas tardes. Vamos a empezar en unos minutos, aproximadamente 6:65 de la tarde. Y para que sepan que esto va a estar ofrecido, esta presentación se ofrece en inglés y en español.
Typically, we have you give the instructions on how to go to the different Zoom rooms.
Okay, are you gonna promote us to the interpretation channel?
Yes, I can do that right now.
Ok, para las personas que gusten escuchar esta presentación en español, en la parte inferior de su pantalla van a observar un icono de como el mundo donde dice interpretación. Si usted presiona, escoge ese icon, lo presiona y puede ver, va a haber dos cubitos, uno que dice inglés y el otro que dice español. Por favor, escojan el español y toda la presentación la van a escuchar traducida al español. Gracias.
Do it. Okay. Okay, you should be in your rooms. Is it working? Yes. I can't hear you anymore, Paloma, but you're in the right room? Yes? Okay, great. Thank you. Here. Here. Okay, should be good to go. Sorry. Roll call. Okay, we'll start with roll call. Anjanette Aguilar. Present. Alfredo Martinez.
Here.
Thanks, Alfredo. Ken Samalo.
Here.
Thank you, Ken. Jaime Alonso or Jocelyn Eckert.
Present.
Thanks, Jocelyn. Crystal Otworth, that's me, present. Jose Cruz. Jose Cruz. Okay. Malu Puerta.
Present.
Thank you, Malu. Bernardo Lino.
Hello.
Thank you. Jose Manso.
Present. Here.
Thank you. Olivia Rodriguez Mendez. Here.
I think Jose Cruz also called in. I heard another voice.
Hello?
Yeah, that's him.
Jose Cruz. Thank you, Jose Cruz. Okay,
Okay, thank
I
you.
got you. Raul Zendejas.
Here.
Awesome. Everybody is accounted for. We have one.
Perfect.
Well, you told me.
Okay, thank you, everybody. Just as a quick reminder, if you are part of the TCC committee, if you can please rename yourself online to indicate that. And if you are able to be on camera safely, that would also be appreciated. Okay. So thank you for those who are joining us in person and online. This is our Mecca North Shore Climate Resiliency Project Stakeholder Committee. This space is made possible by the Transformative Climate Communities Grant, or as we like to call it, the TCC grant. So this is a grant opportunity that funds community-led development and infrastructure projects that deliver environmental, health, and economic benefits to disadvantaged communities. So through this grant and this project, we are working with various partners to move forward the design and planning for a community resilience center in North Shore. So what you see pictured here is the proposed design with a site plan. It'll be located next to the current North Shore Community Park. And then we've also, in order to get to this stage, have had various community meetings and workshops, which you can see a picture of on the bottom left corner. We are also working with our partner Grid Alternatives, who is offering site assessments for 50 homes across Mecca and North Shore, and offering roof upgrades and electrical upgrades in order to make a home solar ready. So this is all in preparation to install solar panels in the future, as well as job training opportunities. So through this grant, Grid has also been able to offer various internships throughout the life of this grant. And lastly, we have active transportation improvements. So this project has been looking at a proposed bike lane that will run from 2nd and Hammond in Mecca to 70th Avenue and Seaview Drive in North Shore. And then we've also been looking at potential improvements to the Avenue 70 and Cleveland Street Bridge in North Shore. So you see two options on your right-hand side. The first one is a proposed bridge widening And the second is an alternative design option, all of which we'll go through in more detail throughout this meeting. Now, I do want to be clear, so this meeting, we do focus on these projects primarily. It is for the grant. If there are any community concerns or questions that are outside of the scope of those projects, then we would just kindly direct you to the Mecca North Shore Community Council, which is a separate space entirely. Their schedule is listed here on the slide. Their next meeting is September 1st. And you can find more information on when these meetings happen at the link down below. And that's the same information in Spanish. Give a moment. Now, when you follow the link, the page will be in English, but there is opportunity if you go to the right-hand corner to translate it into Spanish. And with that, I'll pass it back over to Raul.
Okay, perfect. So, we are seeking an approval for the meeting minutes of May 18, 2026. Can we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Perfect.
Second.
Perfect. Then we can move forward. And now I do want to give an opportunity, for the public to make any comments. There will be a second opportunity at the end of this meeting in case anybody has, anything they would like to provide. So I leave it open. If not, we can move over to project and funding updates.
I'm not seeing anything in the chat or any hand raised,
Perfect.
so we can.
Then again, another opportunity will present itself at the end of this meeting. But for now, we're gonna focus on the project funding, on the projects and funding updates. So just to give a quick understanding of this, each representative will provide a status update on project deliverables, funding needs, and current efforts to secure additional funding for project development. This includes a discussion of funding opportunities applied for or under consideration. Questions may follow after each presentation. So now I want to give this mic, so to speak, to the Mecca North Shore Community Resilience Center.
Thank you. I'm Ken Samala with the Desert Recreation District. The district staff has received preliminary plans, so they're preliminarily 100%, but we have to comment. And we also need to incorporate the grid alternative option or evaluation of the project. And that meeting, thanks to the flexibility of the grid staff, we have that meeting coming up tomorrow at 2:30. That concludes the report and available to answer the questions.
I do have one question.
Yes, ma'am.
I know last month we talked about the DRD submitting plans to the county. Is there an update on that?
Yeah, so they talked about, I talked to the architect and she reached out to County Fire. They do not accept actual preliminary plans. They want completed plans. And then as far as building goes, we can certainly submit them once we get through this preliminary. So they've given us that first draft. When we get through that first draft, then we'll submit to the county for building. But we'll have a formal application to go into emergency service.
Oh. Okay. And then my other question is, I know we've mentioned before if the DRD, if the Resilience Center and the plans to be updated on the DRD website, is there an update on it?
That's my fault, I forgot it. So yeah, I'll ask, there's a marketing person in the administrative office. I'll talk to him about uploading that.
Okay.
Thank you for reminding me.
Any other questions or comments before we move forward? And then, anything on?
No.
Okay.
Could I,
Go ahead, sorry.
I know I shared with Crystal some funding opportunities from Prop 4, and I believe that was sent out with TRD. I just want to follow up with that to see if there was any comments on that.
I don't have an update on the funding. I did receive something in the email, but I'm actually behind on email, so I'll look that up when I get back.
I can also add a little bit, Jose,
Yeah.
so, yes, those were the Prop 68, I believe in Prop 4 were sent over to DRD. And, we had a partner meeting, so DRD is in the process of like evaluating those, grants. And we'll have an update soon as far as, any potential like strategy to apply.
Yeah, and the reason I share them was just to kind of highlight the fact that if we do move with a landscape that's more resilient, and that means like more full of native plants, then I feel like we might be able to acquire some money from there too, just to highlight the importance of the architecture and the landscape outside to be reflective of the environment too.
Yeah.
Ken, do you know if that's something that would be part of the design plans right now?
There is a landscape component, so we would like to have it sooner than later, so I need to review that right away.
Okay, because to Jose's point, I think, yeah, making sure that those design plans are reflective of the native, so that then we're in a position to qualify for the grants.
Cool.
Anything else, Jose?
No, thank you. Just want to share my concerns with the my interest, I guess, with the landscape and making sure that it reflects and it has native landscape to it too.
Okay,
Thank you.
perfect.
Yeah, thank you.
Perfect. Then if there are no other comments, we can move over on to active transportation improvements for Avenue 70 Bridge. And this can be Alfredo Martinez.
All right, I'm gonna share my screen. Sharing is not turned on.
There are settings. Does it prompt you to ask or request access? Oh, there it is.
Yeah,
Okay, you should have access now.
let me share. Okay, here to talk about the Mecca North Shore active transportation projects, which include the 70th Avenue Bridge and the Hammond Road and 70th Avenue bike lanes. The purpose of the projects are to construct approximately 9 miles of roadway that's going to connect the community of Mecca to the community of North Shore. The project limits are from 2nd Avenue and Hammond Road to 70th Avenue and Seaview Drive. Along the corridor, there is a bridge by Cleveland Street. In order to put bike lanes, or in order for the bike lanes to pass through that area, the bridge itself also needs to be widened. So that's the second ATP project. Here's a quick exhibit of the project limits. And in terms of project status, as of right now, all environmental documents are approved. They went to the Board of Supervisors the 9th of this month and were approved. They're now posted with the clerk and sent to the state clearinghouse for recording. So this phase or this task of the grant is now being completed. The 70th Avenue Bridge, the 35% plans have also been completed. The bike lanes, I forgot to update this slide, unfortunately, but 35% design is also now complete as well. So all of the funded categories under the TCC grant have now been completed. And just some extra information on the bike lanes. What we're proposing to do is take a existing 24-foot wide road, which is essentially the 2 travel lanes, and widen them by 9 feet on either side. A 4-foot buffer and a 5-foot bike lane. In the previous meeting, someone asked if I could pull up a real world example of where this has been used before. Let me exit that. And so this is the area I mentioned in the previous meeting. This is on Highway 111, just south of 4th Avenue. In the distance,
Alfredo, sorry to cut you off, but we can't see what you're showing. We see the thank you questions / concerns.
oh, okay. Well, maybe I only shared the presentation. Let me try to reshare. Okay, share. Okay, now do you see it?
Yes.
Okay, so this is what we constructed, kind of connecting 4th Avenue to St. Anthony's, up, well, southerly of the new 66 overpass. So same as what we're proposing, buffered bike lanes, a rumble stripe, delineators, and a bike lane. So the purpose of this design is if a car starts to go over, first they feel the rumble stripes, then they feel or hit the delineators, preventing or hopefully allowing them to take corrective actions and get out of the bike path or pedestrian walkway. So it's this segment is on a freeway, 111, and it's been there for at least 5 years, no accidents, no fatalities that I'm aware of. So this is what we're proposing for the current 70th Avenue bike lane project. Then here's a Google Street Map view. So this is further down. This is by St. Anthony's. I mean, you can see it's pretty consistent all the way through. One thing I didn't mention is these chevrons. So these are also kind of meant to guide traffic back into the lanes. Let me switch to a quick overhead view. And you'll see that it pretty much starts here at 4th Street. So you come across and then you go south, and it's the same layout all the way across. So essentially that's what we're trying to do, is just replicate something that we've had success with in the past in this community. That is pretty much it for my presentation. Any questions?
Any questions from the committee members?
I had a comment,
Go ahead, sir.
and I'll be sharing a picture. Hopefully, you guys can see it. But I know that we mentioned that those cones kind of have, some of them have been busted already, and there's no like really fast turnaround of like when they replace them or anything like that. And I set up image that's kind of like another example that I saw in some streets that have like a bike lane divider, and that's something that cars could go over on, but it's more, I guess, sturdy too. And I just wanted to ask like if there's any other anything other that looks more durable, instead of like those like super simple traffic cones.
So these are kind of the basic ones. Let me see if I
Yeah,
can Google something real quick.
yeah, because I've seen different ones that are like either more thicker. I've seen the one that I sent out are like the ones that are to the yeah. So
So I've used something like this before, but the low profiles. Let's see.
I feel like, for example, that one that's there, it just kind of creates more of a barrier. Like the one that's in the bottom to create more of a barrier.
Okay. So this is one that I've used before. This is a 2-inch low profile curve.
Mm-hmm.
What I like about this design is this base is actually flexible. There's a spring that keeps this post in place. So if it gets run over, it bounces back upright. I mean, obviously, it's not going to survive like an 80-mile-an-hour hit where it does need maintenance, but it does withstand several blows before the post
Mm-hmm.
fails. So, I mean, this is
Yeah.
something that might be, I mean, we could use it with this base, or there's also this rectangular base that is a little simpler.
Okay. Well, I guess I have to say that I do prefer this one over the other one that you showed. That one that goes towards San Anthony. That one has like the poles are way more like farther apart. This one has poles much more closer. I guess I do want also reference Conchita's point of view that during at least during the portion that the bridge is on, like if there's could be an actual barrier that serves more of a protection compared to like the rest of the Avenue 70, just kind of to make sure that um, there's more of a barrier around that part, specifically in that portion.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I can note it.
Thank you.
Alfredo, at what point in the design phase do those details, I guess, get like worked in and put on paper?
Generally that would be after my traffic group does a review of the 65% plan. So somewhere between 65 and 95%.
Okay. And those are, and I guess the goal is to get to the 95% with the rest of these TCC funds, is that correct?
I'm not sure. I'm going to try to use up as much funds as I can within the deadline. So I mean, we don't really have a whole lot of time left. 55 to 65 is already kind of stretching it.
Oh, so 65 is a stretch, you think?
Yeah.
Okay. I was just trying to get a feel for like timeline and when, you know what I mean, like compared to when we would see this on paper and yeah, so, but okay, that's helpful, thank you.
I had a question.
Thank you.
I had a question. I know there's been like high concern about the safety, especially when talking about this specific project. And I know you've looked into the reports and I remember you mentioned that there was actually like low accidents reported. Is there a way that in like a document or something that can be captured by the community to maybe identify the specific areas that maybe are not reported or just the concerns? That when it does get to that review process, it's a document that kind of reinforces the community's concerns for safety in specific areas along this project.
I mean, unless they're reported by CHP, which is check, they'd really I don't know how I can justify them. So I mean, you guys can write a letter saying there's been 100 accidents. I can't verify any of it, even if you guys certify it.
Wait to clear, just to confirm that, so that I know I understood. Can you repeat the document that you were looking for?
Oh, no, it wasn't the document. I was like wondering if something can be created, because I know there's been a lot of like community concern, and I know Fred's looked into it and said like there's actually been
Yeah,
low reports. And so I was just wondering like what could be created or used after analyzing this to be like, okay, yeah, like that proves that, you know, safety is a concern in this specific area. But having said it needs to be like a CHP report, from what I understood. Do you guys have any encouraging community members to report that? So that there's then a record of them.
You know what CHP stands for?
California Highway Patrol?
Okay, I didn't know. Okay, okay. Any other questions for Alfredo?
Not a question, but I just wanted to see if there was any follow-up to the last comment from last time about the reflective kind of lights that go onto the ground.
I haven't seen any of the reflective lights. I know you mentioned that it was used on the CVAG trail,
Correct.
I believe.
Yeah.
I don't think I've had a chance to take a look at that yet. If you have a link or a picture of them, that would help me. But if it's something solar powered, then maybe it can be done. If it's something that needs power,
Mm-hmm.
the county can afford to pay that electric bill or set up a service cabinet to get those functional.
Okay. I will go ahead and do some searching, and then I can send them towards your email.
Okay, perfect.
Cool. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
And Ben, sorry. No,
Are there any questions from the public?
I would like to make a comment that my name is Jack Luna and I live in Mecca. And, certain comments that I hear, and it's no offense to you, I'm sure that's part of the mode of conversing with the constituents. But when I hear that certain needs, and I mean needs, especially when it comes to public health and safety, can't be attended to because the county can't afford it. You know, I just, it just makes me feel uneasy about accepting, and it goes back to integrity, especially when 1 week ago, the county is bragging about these hundreds or tens of billions of dollars that they, amassed and whatnot. And 3 of those billions of dollars were done in just the last year. But when I hear the word or the words saying the county can't afford it, I'd rather see that particular language to be changed. Say the language should say the county doesn't really feel it needs to spend that money. Let's be honest about it. And it's not just me speaking. This has been the history of Riverside County. And I'd like it corrected to be more honest. That's it. We're not just speaking to a bunch of yahoos here in Mecca. Please have some respect for us. Thank you.
okay. So thank you for the comments, questions, and responses. If there are any more comments from the public or any more questions online either, then respectfully, we can move over to solar energy storage, redevelopment of these activities by Grid Alternatives.
Hello, good afternoon. I'll go ahead and screen share as well. I have a few slides. Just want to confirm y'all are able to see the presentation.
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, perfect. Good afternoon, everybody. Yoselin Ecker from Grid Alternatives. I'm the Director of Outreach for Grid Alternatives Southern California. Nadia Sanchez, our Outreach Operations Manager, is also on the line. And we also work, Alex Turek, our Director of Strategic Development, who's been a part of a little bit more of the implementation and proposal for a round 6 application. And the feasibility study is also a part of our group. Just recapping a little bit about Grid Alternatives. Grid Alternatives is a nonprofit solar installer And our goal is to build community-powered solutions that advance environmental justice through renewable energy. And in this grant, we have some tasks in a scope of work that includes 3 activities. The first is to conduct solar readiness site assessments and greenhouse gas analysis for up to 50 sites. We're also employing and training 3 paid internships in the Eastern Coachella Valley, and finally conducting a microgrid feasibility study for the proposed Resilience Center in North Shore as well. To expand on our tasks, for the first task, we had to conduct site visits and collect feasibility analysis for up to 50 single-family homes. We will be completing roof rehab, electrical upgrades as required. And for our results and outcomes, we do have some final numbers as we have completed our initial applications and the majority of our review. 67 initial applications for rehabilitation have been received in the past year, about year and a half at this point. 57 remain active. At this point, all site visits have been completed. All results have been reviewed, and I will be able to provide a summary of those in the next few slides with some visuals. We did come across about 11 applicants from the initial 67 that were no longer interested. We heard an array of different reasons. Some of them, we had mentioned that, as part of the process, they would be installed with solar. Some of the residents were just interested in getting their roof redone, or they were interested in a complete re-roof, which would be out of the scope of the work of during this project development grant. And then some folks were just not interested after a while and maybe lost touch with our team. 6 were unqualified of those. Some of them already had solar, actually. And then there was also some code issues that would prevent us from being able to move forward with pulling the necessary permits required to do the work that we were setting out to do as well. One thing that we do know is, usually in our experience, the county inspectors are usually pretty strict in a lot of the rural areas, and we're transparent with applicants that, we have to pull those permits and get those that work inspected as a final part of the work that we do. We do have 4 projects that remain on the wait list. Unfortunately, just with the total cost so far that we anticipate expending on the rehabilitation side, we don't expect those to be converted into projects, but since the last meeting, we were able to convert 3 of those into some of the site visits that were completed in the past few months. Those 4 on the wait list will be contacted by the end of next month, just to confirm the availability of funds and, if we were able to move forward with any of the rehabilitation for their project as we complete the drawdown of those expected funds. Okay, so as of the beginning of this month, we have some updated numbers for the 57 site visits and feasibility studies that were completed. Just to recap, as part of this feasibility study, we did collect utility bills, usage data, information. We went to each site, we measured the roof area, we looked at the electrical panel. We just confirmed that we'd be able to actually install the solar. So all of that data we are now able to actually use as part of our proposals for implementation grants and to find funding for. Very helpful, very useful, and really puts us in a strong position to show both the state, SGC, and even other funders that we have the information about actual homes in the Eastern Coachella Valley in Mecca, North Shore, and we know what we're talking about when we're going after funding for these projects. But just to recap, out of the total 57, 19 required only re-roof, so that's about 40%. 34% required both re-roof and electrical upgrades. Only 4 required just electrical work, and 8 projects required no solar readiness work at all whatsoever. So out of 57 projects, only 8 were ready to go that we'd be able to, next week start pulling permits and designing projects moving forward if we had the funding today. I do want to point out that we did have 10 projects that were potential ground mount installations. And I want to call this out because it was pretty unique to Mecca North Shore, where the possibility of a ground mounted system came about. One of the reasons is that these 10 projects, the property owner actually owns a lot, and they have enough space for us to be able to install the ground mount system separate from, a lot of the different
Con un
required.
poco de diferente de trabajo.
Oh, sorry about that.
Se perdió un poco la señal, perdón. Lo siento.
Okay.
Is that just on my end?
No, Jocelyn, that's on our end, I think. Give me 1 second.
Sure thing.
Un momento, por favor. Parece que es.
Sorry, Paloma, it shows the same. Let me try to. Spanish, English, something. Spanish. No? Sorry, are you in the right room now, Paloma? Are you in the right room, Paloma? Yep, okay. Oh, cool. Great, thank you. Jocelyn, I think you're good to go.
Okay, no problem. I think where I was just reviewing the fourth row down here for solar readiness required. So out of the 57 projects, 8 were ready to go, meaning, we'd be able to move forward. These drop-off rates are pretty consistent with the housing stock in other areas that we serve, usually in disadvantaged communities where GRID administers a number of different programs throughout the state. We see about a 40% drop-off and usually 40% and above drop-off for solar readiness. And this is the biggest barrier to be able to install solar and bring renewable energy to the communities who need it most, like Mecca and North Shore. For ground mounts, I think one thing I mentioned that was unique about this community is that unlike many of the other denser communities and housing stocks that we work in, think of Riverside in Ontario, South LA, and Pomona, where we actually currently have active implementation grants. Ground mounts were not really a possibility because they require a certain amount of clearance and property and land, and that's one thing that rural communities like Mecca and North Shore actually do have access to. So it kind of allows us to do rooftop solar, but also throw in the possibility of ground mount systems as well. All right. The next slide is this data for the 47, so minus the 10 ground mount systems. For our visual folks, so again, roofing only, about 40% of the projects. Roofing and electrical, which would be the orange area, would be about 34% of the projects. Electrical upgrades only was only 4, and that does include any ground mount systems that required electrical upgrades. And then the no solar readiness required was the 8 in gray here. A breakdown of the applicant data and where the projects were coming from. One thing we learned is that we had a lot of initial interest very early on through our outreach efforts at the food bank, at the Mecca North Shore meetings, and just through word of mouth. One thing we found is that the North Shore community was the most responsive to the program availability and just to the outreach efforts that we did have. There was a huge demand for rehabilitation, like we talked about at our last meeting, due to a lot of storm damage from previous years, extreme heat. There was a lot of interest in rehabilitation of homes in general is what we learned. For the microgrid feasibility study, GRID is conducting a microgrid feasibility study for the Climate Resilience Center. We are working with a consultant for this, and like was shared previously, we are meeting tomorrow, Alex and our team, with the consultants and the grant partners to complete data and scope by the end of next month. We're still on track from what I heard from Alex on my team. Our consultant seems confident that they can complete that as soon as they have the information that they need to move forward with that feasibility study, at least in terms of the scope of the work. And then finally, our job training component, we did complete 2 internships. One is in progress and will be completed by August 21st of 2026. Dania Perez on our team joined just last month, and she was there in person at the meeting, and will be working with our team on a lot of our closeout tasks, gathering all of this data, putting it together, and one other thing that our team is working on over these next few months is to plan a community info session and report back all of these greenhouse gas reduction findings, everything from average system sizes that we would expect homeowners to receive, average savings on utility bills, just to give the community more of an example of like what these types of projects would benefit both their pockets and their homes and the environment out in Mecca North Shore. And then finally, one thing that we did also learn is that obviously electric use in extreme heat places like Mecca North Shore, it really caught us by surprise, but at the same time it didn't. So what we'd like to do is to also provide resources for community-wide savings, both for homes. What we heard from a lot of residents is that they were interested in more than just solar and more than just rehab and electrical. There was folks that were interested in lead abatement, other energy efficiency upgrades, clean mobility. So what we would like to do is bring together partners to provide those resources to this community before we close out a lot of our project development grant tests. We do have a few proposed dates. Usually for community engagement, what we've learned, it's always best to, go where folks are already at and not really try and create our own events. So we have some proposed dates for the final stakeholder meeting that would be happening next month. We're also open to, joining any August events. For example, resource fairs, especially for the back to school season. If we know of any, we can definitely join in there and do our presentation in those existing events. And then finally, on the job training, I did want to also share that in addition to the internships that we offered through this grant, Grid Alternatives host Solar Core fellowships every single year. They're usually funded through AmeriCorps, and we're currently recruiting right now. If any community members in Mecca North Shore have any interest in, building towards a just energy future, this is a full-time paid opportunity to launch a career with Grid in a number of our different departments. This could be in construction, in community outreach, even in program management and workforce development as well. So those details can be found here. This QR code in this website is going to have all the information anybody would need in order to apply for that. But that fellowship is a year long, and the positions are listed here on the right-hand side. And the pay is a stipend that does come with benefits. Excuse me, and it also comes with dedicated professional development funds and a lot of mentorship and networking as well.
Perfect. Okay, thank you for the presentation. Now, with that being said, I'd like to open up any questions for the committee. Okay. If committee has no questions, now I'd like to open it to the public. Does anybody have any questions regarding the presentation or the opportunities that they presented as well? Is that something online?
No chat.
Okay, then perfect. Then if there are no questions nor comments, we can now move over to Leadership Council for Community Outreach and Engagement.
Yay. Okay. Well, hello, everybody. This is I'm with Leadership Council, and we lead the outreach and engagement portion of this grant. So hopefully you all saw some version of this flyer, whether that was through a direct mailer or a online invitation. This was our invitation for this month. And we do create like monthly invites since the start of this grant. For outreach, we typically do a like mass text messages. We also send invites through emails. We leave flyers at frequently visited locations throughout the community, like local markets and community parks. We also post on social media, so it includes Facebook, Instagram. And we also do have joined community tabling events. And so this past month, we actually did an event at the local Mecca church. And so these are some photos of our outreach associate, Jasmine. She's rocking it. And then so in those, at those tabling events, we'll share information about this committee space, but we've also been sharing specifically the prioritization survey. Okay, and as hopefully some of you have seen, we also have been putting highlight reels on social media, and that's really just a brief recap, like less than 2 minutes, maybe a minute and a half, of what we talk about in these spaces for those who aren't able to join us in person but still want to stay up to date. And so we do these on a monthly basis as well. They're bilingual, English and Spanish. And we post them on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. And this is just an example of last month's reel. So we uplifted the site visit that we had with SGC, and we also shared the updated plans for the Resilience Center and the parking lot. Okay. And this is, so this month of June did look a little different. We were able to use some of the funding that was left over for the grid alternative projects, and that was reallocated to Leadership Council. We used it to do direct mailers and social media boosts. So again, hopefully, folks would have received this flyer. It's like kind of like the size of a postcard, directly to their mailbox. And then on social media boost, essentially how that works is like within a geographic area, we boosted the highlight reel and the graphic invite for 10 days. So we were able to do that. Okay. If you are new to this space and you receive the invite through the mailer or some other form, we do invite you to sign up in our like interest form using this QR code, because that way you would be able to get direct invitations from Leadership Council through the mass text messaging and phone calls and emails.
Well, not that, QR code. Now, I think I used that, or you asked us to use that, or somebody asked us to use that at this last meeting, not of your group, but I tried to use it. Is there a special process on following through on that to attend a Zoom meeting, let's say? I mean,
A QR code for a Zoom meeting? Like,
I'm sorry?
for these meetings specifically?
Yeah, a leadership meeting, I think it was last week, but I had a hard time getting through. And I used the QR, it says use QR code, so I tried that. And so. What's the process?
So the QR code, if it's for a Zoom link, would take you to the Zoom page. That then you should be able to join through the website. I'm not sure what it looked like. Yeah, Jazz.
Usually the QR code, we
Right.
scan it with the camera from your phone, and they should pop up a small like yellow link on it. Usually whenever I text the mass messages, I always try to add it as a link, and it should take you directly to the same as well.
So you know what, now that you're talking about, yeah, I think we were talking, right? And I think I remember now, the issue was my phone. They had just recently been upgraded, you know, they upgrade these things automatically.
Yeah.
And I couldn't access the mic, I couldn't,
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
video.
she knew I was there. You
Yeah.
know, because she'd read it, oh, hey, yeah, blah, blah, blah. But I couldn't make any, so when they were asked me, you got any comments in, I'm gonna. Oh my goodness.
That makes sense.
So I thought, well, but now I remember, it was the upgrade, so I wanna.
Got it, okay.
Accept my apology.
No worries. This QR code goes to a Google form, actually. So that way, in the Google form, you just put your name, your email, phone number. You don't have to do all of it, but it's just your preferred method of communication, and that way we have some form of contact to then be able to share the monthly invites.
Thank you.
Uh-huh. Shifting over a little bit, so I've mentioned the TCC prioritization survey. For those who are new in this space, this is a survey that we have open just to really get opinions from the community on which of the projects we've talked about today are a priority for you. Right now, we're in the process of looking and applying for implementation funding or construction funding to move these projects from design to through to construction and implementation. So we really want to hear from you all because funding is limited. We want to understand what are the community priorities and where we should be focusing those efforts. Okay.
So when you say funding is limited, does that mean you're on a budget?
Yeah.
Is
So
that's what it translates?
right. So right now we have this grant was for the design and planning, but there's still a lot of funding we have to obtain for the construction and implementation. Now there are grants, so like we'll talk a little bit later about some of the grants that we're looking into, but even those grants require matching funds, so funds from different sources. So we're exploring all the different options, but there is certainly a need for grants and.
So are there mechanisms within your organization to where you can use certain funding to leverage other financial?
Yeah, so those matching funds are, sorry, I got this, it wasn't your question, it was the.
It was a phone over here, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, some of those grants, through like this one, you have to leverage other funds.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, did I answer the question or?
I
Not
just
really.
wondering, because maybe you could tap into other sources having a certain, they call them matching funds. In
Right.
certain situations,
Yeah.
if you can come up with a certain amount of funding for a project and it's not quite enough, you can ask somebody else. Because you've already got, let's just say 60%, 20%. Oh, wow, you're working hard.
Yeah.
Like you send your kids out there to the school, or the school does to sell their candies and all these stuff like that, and the kids come home and you tell them, well, you sell 25 of them, you come back and I'll buy 5 of them. That kind of thing.
Yeah,
It works up there in the adult world too.
yeah. Very similar. Some of the grants we're looking for require that matching fund, so it's really for. So all that to say, the survey is still open. We welcome the feedback from community members. If you haven't had a chance to fill it out, I encourage you to. We have flyers in the back, and we can also help you fill out the survey.
Okay.
Okay, as far as what the responses have looked like so far, I can't move this. We do have about 81 responses, which is up a little bit. I can't. But right now, the 3 main priorities, bridge widening improvements is leading by quite a bit. The second one we have is the Community Resilience Center. And then the third one is actually pretty neck and neck with bike lanes and solar panels right now. Bike lanes, I think, has one more vote over the solar panels, but that's actually, it flipped from last month. Last month, we had more folks, at least the results were showing more towards solar panels. So just wanting to show how important it is to fill out these surveys and really get your feedback in. Okay. And then, okay, this is I just wanted to share the calendar for the rest of this year and for these meetings. So I think I mentioned at the beginning that these meetings are made possible through the grant. Once this grant ends, which is set in by the end of July, then these monthly meetings will end for the foreseeable future. Unless, yeah, these meetings will end. And so the last scheduled meeting we have is July 20th. So if you all know folks who would be interested in learning more about these projects, I encourage you to invite them to July. So that they have a chance to learn about these efforts. And that meeting is going to be in North Shore Beach and Yacht Club. We've been alternating between Mecca and North Shore, so.
It works.
Yeah.
It's a good program.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing that.
I'm glad that it's been helpful. I think that might be the last slide I have here. Yep, is planning for the future. So in recognition that this is the second to last meeting, I would love to get feedback from community members if you have it right now, or just to think on what would be your preferred methods of staying informed throughout these projects. Of course, just because we're not going to have these monthly meetings doesn't mean that this work isn't going to continue. We're very much, all the partners are continuing and keeping this momentum forward. So I just wanted to hear from you all as far as if there's specific community spaces that you think it would be helpful to share this space in moving forward, or yeah, just what your preferred methods of staying informed would be. That is my last slide. So happy to take any recommendations from the committee members or from the public. And if you don't have any today, hoping you come back in July and share with me then. That's it.
If I may, I do think that the reels are a pretty optimal method of keeping people informed. They're pretty brief, but to the point. And again, in a age of attention, I feel like that's a really good tool to have right now.
So even if we're not meeting, like maybe if we have like updates to share, creating like a reel about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Text messaging, just if there's it's like a basis.
We can also use the county website that they already have. I think there's other things that can be integrated onto the website, maybe like a story, like a type of story, like update. Yeah, and just post updates every once in a while. It's like a news.
Oh, like
Yeah.
a little, I know that like when they put like recent publications.
Yeah, things like that, yeah. That's words for.
And for an in-person method, maybe like libraries, like either Coachella or Mecca.
There is a comment on.
It's going there. I'd like to volunteer group to support with the next reel. Oh, thanks, Yoselin. I'm sure Stephanie would appreciate that.
Yes, we're due. We're next. We have some bilingual staff. I'll prepare them to get camera ready.
Awesome, thanks, Yoselin.
It's like not me, but we have staff.
Okay, then with that, that concludes my presentation.
Perfect. Okay, then thank you. And I think you also offered the opportunity for any comments or questions. So without ado, if anything, we'll move over to the following item. And this is for grant management for the County of Riverside. Angela.
Thank you. So the first item I wanted to discuss was our amendment one to our grant agreement. With the partners, we worked together to revise our budget. And then in the flyer,
I'm going.
yeah, okay, that Crystal will be sharing, and there's also physical copies here. You'll see the original budget highlighted in one column and then the amended budget in the other. So the total budget amount remains the same. We just moved funding around to use it more efficiently during the remainder of the grant. We did note that should the grant end July 31st, TLMA would have a significant amount of unused funds. So we requested an extension to Strategic Growth Council through the end of the year, December 31st. With the actual activities ending in October to allow at least 2 months for the closeout of the grant, which means the final invoices, any reporting, etc., that would be needed to, have that cushion to complete it. We were notified on June 1st that the amendment has made its way to Strategic Growth Council's contracts office. And we should be getting a DocuSign soon once it's finalized and approved on their end. However, we did want to highlight the new budget and end date are not in effect until the amendment is executed. Grid also indicated that they possibly would need an extension as well. I am still waiting from Grid's team to provide a more detailed email or memo stating the timeline and a justification up until when they need that extension for. So they might be that the extension on their end wouldn't require any formalities. It would just be submitted to Borough Council to our project managers and they would pretty much okay it. And then the second item is our fiscal update. So in that chart, you'll see the total advance requested, the total reimbursed requested, and the balances for each and the total balance per task. So we have fully dispersed reimbursement advanced draws for task 3 to 6. There's still some advance left for draw for task 1 and 2. And I anticipate that, obviously this next draw will be significant in the amount that we will draw down. But, we're working closely with the project teams to get all the funding dispersed. Any question on those two, the amendment and the fiscal update? Okay.
I guess just to comment on the grid side, we should have that memo to you. We have it drafted already. I think our question was, and Jeanette is, we anticipate being done by the end of October, especially one of the delays that we're seeing on our end is that the IID, the utility, is taking anywhere between 1 to 4 months for meter spot checks, just to tell us, where the approved meter can be. Would it be, since I guess the extension is through October, should we put that as our end date? We do think that would work for grid.
Okay, yeah, that would have to be the end date. So everything has to be buttoned up and done on your guys' end. No more expenditures, anything after October 31st. And then we will have 2 months to work together for any last draws, any reporting that needs to be submitted to close that out fully by the end of December. And that's keeping in mind, there will be the holidays with Thanksgiving and Christmas. So it will be a tight turnaround. So we have absolutely cannot go past October 31st.
Yeah, I think that would align. Just to kind of give perspective, the memo will include that we expect all re-roofing to be done for sure by the end of next month. Our internship will be done by the end of August. So any invoice would be in September. So it really was just the electrical panel upgrades because of the delay with the utility.
Understood. And we don't need anything like super formal. Like I said to Cara in the email, just in a body of an email, something can copy and paste to submit to our project managers. That's sufficient. I already flagged that Grid would probably be seeking this, so they are aware that this might be coming.
Great. I'll give this detail to Kara to add in that date, and we'll send that over tomorrow first thing.
Perfect. Thank you. And then the only final item I wanted to discuss, which is also later on the agenda, but I'll just do it now. The TCC round 6 applications, they are now open. We are pursuing the implementation to submit a pre-proposal for the Resiliency Center and for the 50 sites of solar implementation. TLMA has decided not to pursue funding within the TCC and instead will be looking at the APT funding opportunity that they have previously mentioned in other meetings. They'll likely stay on as a partner in the application, but they won't be requesting any funds and they wouldn't really have any tasks. We're hoping that with the APT, we could use that as a leverage into the project areas to kind of relieve the pressure on the other entities on how much they should be, securing. The pre-proposal is due June 30th. We had a meeting earlier today to discuss workload and how to distribute who is assigned to what, and we have I think a good amount of it is good shape. We're just missing some information from Grid and I think a little bit from DRD. So yeah, and then we also submitted a request for technical assistance. That's just a third entity helping us with the grant application. They'll be helping with reviewing the grant writing. If we have any questions with like the work plans or there's like a project area map that we have to complete, they'll help us with the mapping. So it's just another resource. So we've also applied for that and I'm waiting to hear back on that. So after that, we have until September 30th to submit the application. And they anticipate to review from winter 2026 to early 2027 with announcing awards in spring of 2027. And that's it on my end. Any questions?
I just want to emphasize Antoinette's last point that we will not hear about the results of the grant until spring of next year. So I know that there'll be some time where we probably won't have any updates. And so just wanted to like be transparent and re-emphasize with those in the room and who are on Zoom. It's not that nothing's happening, but we are also working with external deadlines.
Thanks a lot.
And we can always post an update on the website or you guys on social media. Like after we apply, just letting folks know like we have applied.
Yeah.
And then I know, as I mentioned, some activities will continue after July when the meeting ends. So I'll be speaking with our project managers with SGC. Tomorrow I have my monthly meeting with them. And just getting their opinion if the committee meeting is a good supplement or we're okay just issuing, like uploading it on the website or how we go about providing updates.
Okay, thank you. And thank you for that. And also thank you for touching on the grant application as well. I know you offered any questions or comments, but I just want to reiterate that if there are any comments or questions now, it'd be appreciated. But if not, again, there's an opportunity at the end of this all to ask any questions if anything is formulating at this time. Thank you again. So with that being said, if there aren't any questions or comments from either the public here or online, then we can move over to Grid. If you could touch on the resource fair, please.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for the time. Like we had mentioned previously and through one of the amendments that we kind of moved some money around. One thing that we've learned over the last 18 months, about a year and a half that we've been working in the Mecca North Shore community, is that we have really, with all this data that we have, which honestly, this is the way to go for an implementation grant, is knowing what we're walking into. This is the first time Grid has been part of an project development grant. We've been a part of every single implementation grant in the state of California, but I can tell you from experience, this is the way to do it. Going into a community with an application with all of this data really shows SGC and our funders, the why, the how, and all of the legwork that has been completed by the partners in this room and by all of the community members as well that have shared their feedback and their, honesty about the everyday lives and their interest in how this funding can impact their homes, their community, and beyond. So because of that, part of the work is that we're going to be organizing a community information session to report out all of these findings, and also include resources focused on community-wide savings. Many of the homes in Mecca and North Shore, we have seen some of the highest usage we've ever seen in any of our project pipelines. And we believe sharing these findings and this information will help improve even in the immediate, how folks can build a shared vision around energy savings, but also energy efficiency, resilience, and a lot of other factors. So what we wanted to do was to create an information session or some sort of share out. We'd like to propose a few dates coming up. The first one being, sorry, my daughter just stopped. The first one being
Hi.
Judith. The first one being the next and final meeting. But also we wanted to ask if the partners knew of, or community members knew of any other resource fairs or events that we could join. We just always find it better to join existing events that already have attendance as opposed to trying to do our own. So that was the first one. I want to pass it to Erica Lamelli as well to ask a little bit, to give a little bit more details and ask for some support as well.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Yes, thank you, Yoss. I wanted to ask if there's any organizations or resources beyond the stakeholders here today that we should include in our mini energy resource session. For example, SoCal Gas, or if anybody had like a contact information for Cap Riverside, the Community Action Partnership.
Yeah, I can coordinate with CAP. They're part of HWS. So I can get a contact information and send it out to y'all.
Okay, thank you.
And I think previously we had interest from CARB as well. They've been doing outreach to the Eastern Coachella Valley. So, them bringing more information about clean energy rebates. Grid can also bring our information regarding workforce training, like the Solar Core Fellowship. So just a place to, if the organizations can't make it themselves, we would really set up like a mini resource fair where folks can take information and, apply to the existing programs beyond what we're able to offer today, but also in the meantime, as an implementation grant comes about.
Yeah, I had a quick question about that, Yoselin, because I sent over contacts for IID and CARB as well to Erica. And I know that we had talked about you all having a presentation in the last 20 minutes of the TCC meeting this upcoming in July. And I think it was proposed to use the portion of the North Shore Yacht Club that we don't typically use, right? That little area. But I guess my one question is how many like tables or folks do we plan on inviting? Because that space is not that big. That's one. And then two is I guess is the plan to invite them from the beginning and then they're sitting through our meeting, or is it like after? I don't know if those logistics have been worked out yet, or if we were still deciding on even like the time and location.
Yeah, I think first we're still deciding on the time and the location. We think it would be ideal to, not have to market another program and just kind of attach it to the presentation itself. And I hear you with the event, with the area being kind of small. I really think the folks we would invite are the same people that we're reaching out to for the stakeholder meetings. That would be, we would be inviting the 57 essentially applicants to attend these, which I believe have already been reached out in our part of our mailing list and have received updates across the grant period.
But would the representative, like CARB representatives, then would be in the little room? If we have it in North Shore, the yacht club, then they would be in the room, and then like be essentially actually kind of how we have it right now in the Mecca, where we have like tables in the back and Okay, I understand the vision now, sorry.
Yeah.
Initially, I
Yeah.
was like, oh.
And even if even if, other partners are not able to make it, we can set up, the resources in particular and call them out as well, with flyers to take away. We know that, it's an evening, maybe not everybody would be able to make it, but we would still set up like, like kind of like a walkthrough is what I was envisioning of resources for those residents that we have been in contact with, both grid and the community partners as well.
I see, okay. Then let me know how I can be of assistance, if I can be, just a heads up, we typically have these spaces reserved starting at 5:30. So just as far as like setting up tables and stuff, if you need it to be earlier, that would be a conversation with DRD.
Okay.
Okay, perfect. All right, any comments? Any questions?
Una pregunta. Ahorita acerca de los paneles solares y de o sea, ¿cómo sería eso? O sea, para las casas y así pues ya ven que dicen que como para pagar menos de la luz.
Sí. Jocelyn, did you hear the question?
I did. It was a question how the program worked.
Y, ¿puede clarificar su pregunta, por favor?
O sea, quiero saber cómo va a funcionar, o sea, por decir, los paneles solares en las casas.
Sí.
Y si pueden, en las casas, cómo va a funcionar, o sea, pues, eso de las casas.
Sí.
También de la parte de la luz, ya ve que a veces llega a aplicar y a veces dicen que hay programas que, o sea, por decir, le rebajan como el 20 o el 10%.
Sí.
También es eso.
Oh, it's related to like the application process, and how much it would reduce the cost of energy per household.
Sí, I'll answer. Should I answer in English or Spanish? It would be easier.
We have translators, so it's up to you, whatever you're more comfortable with.
I'll answer in English just so we don't mess up the translators. As for our part in this grant, we completed site visits and roof readiness in order to make solar possible for up to 50 sites. The next part of the grant, like Anjanette, the County of Riverside mentioned, is that we're actually going to go and apply for an implementation grant to fund the solar. And if we are awarded, we'd be able to install solar completely at no cost for qualified homeowners who are under an income limit, occupy their homes, and their home would allow us to install solar, would be solar suitable. And solar systems can reduce any household's electric burden by between 50 and 80% reduction is what we see. Every home is unique. So once we have, all of this data, like from the sites we've collected through this grant, we'd be able to give each home and each homeowner their savings estimate. But usually between 50 and 80% is pretty normal. It just really depends on every single home. Every single system is designed unique to that home and its electric use as well.
Perfect. And just to be clear, are the applications closed? Like, have you met your quota, or is there extra space for other applicants?
For our activities on the pre-development grant, which is to just complete the rehab and collect the data, our applications are closed. We actually have 4 on the wait list that we probably won't be able to get to. But again, if we receive the actual grant, if it's submitted, if everything goes through and we find out, I believe maybe the end of this year, early next year, we would reach out and open the actual application period for these sites and possible future sites as well.
Understood. Okay. ¿Tiene otra pregunta o?
Sí, otra también.
Acerca
de cómo apoyan a los jóvenes para una carrera que quieran ellos estudiar.
Sí.
Pues sí, una
Sí. Could you go over the employment opportunities or the job training that Grid offers again, please?
Yeah, of course. I'll screen share again, and I can also include this presentation, which will be posted on the website. Through over the last 18 months, we did host 3 internships. One of the final one is going to be completed through the end of August, and that equaled 700 hours of training and community engagement, outreach, project coordination, attending these events and these meetings, and data collection and analysis. But what we had shared is that we also have fellowships that GRID hosts every single year, about 40 positions throughout California. Some of these are hybrid remote, and we actually have a few positions that have opened up in the Coachella area where we're doing an implementation grant with the city of Coachella. And these are year-long fellowships, year-long positions from September 2026 through August 2027. They offer a stipend and benefits, and we have them available in community outreach, construction, so actual installers, and workforce technical training as well. So folks can go to solarcore.org or take a photo of this QR code, and it will take them to the page with the application links to get more information on these opportunities.
Sorry, Yas, I have a question based off of that. I know you shared it earlier. Are those 3 separate positions or?
Yes.
Okay. No more than 3, right? It was just like those 3 for solar.
There's 3 categories. And GRID has offices throughout California, some hybrid remote positions as well throughout the country. So these would be placed, if the website will show where the position would be placed, essentially.
Oh, I see. And there are some here in the Coachella Valley.
Correct. Currently, we actually have a fellow, David Zedekiah. He's come to some of our meetings. I don't know if he's there, David. So David is our current fellow, and he is a resident of Coachella, and he's been helping us, in the Eastern Coachella Valley, representing GRID when we're not able to make it in person or when we're out at events. And I don't know, maybe David, if you want to share a little bit more about your time with us and the work you've done with Coachella Prospera.
So I definitely recommend the fellowship. GRID has multiple things that it offers for career development. The fellowship is one that's for 11 months. The stipend for my term at least was 40,800, which has been very useful for me and my family. The Antlers only in the outreach department, so I do all this, right? Community engagement, Coachella for Coachella Prospera partners, and if they're thinking going to events, and to their events. We also get personal development funds and a plan, which helps us basically develop a career plan. So we have $600 at our disposal to get equipment, certifications, go to networking events, say like hotels if we're going to a special kind of training, and other opportunities to travel and gain new skills. It also offers different opportunities to basically interact with others within the industry, but also in other departments and other spaces. So we just had a retreat in February where all the fellows throughout California and our one on the East Coast got together to basically do some more training and get to know each other and learn how to network and build our career. Currently, we're focusing on more career-based activities, so learning resume writing, interviews, we're getting help doing job applications, and basically, finding somewhere stable to go after. Overall, it's a really great program. It's very well-rounded, and it's not just related to solar, although it is very useful for moving into that space and learning this.
Thank you, David. ¿Le contestó su pregunta o le gustaría saber más información? Perfecto. Okay. So then again, thank you, David. That was amazing. Then with that being said, I think we can move over to future agenda item requests.
Thanks, Jocelyn.
Thank you. Yeah, Jocelyn. Let me see. So committee members and the public may request items to be considered for inclusion in future meeting agendas. If there are any ideas right now, we would love to hear.
We take a group photo, the last meeting.
With that?
We can totally do that. We can totally do that. Then, I would recommend if all the committee members can come in person in the last meeting, as if you can, so we can do a group photo.
We will Photoshop this inside.
Yeah, and we will use an unpleasant photo.
Like, I have your Instagram.
Just kidding. I see Manu said yes. That actually works well because I think I know we're still looking at the location and time for the resource fair, but if it does end up being in July during the stakeholder meeting, then I think we would use the time that we typically do for other items on the grid presentation. Just to make sure we have enough time. And yeah, okay.
Okay, perfect.
I also want to add that photos really help paint the picture for any grant applications we want to submit. It makes it, it just gives us a strong collaborative approach. And many times SGC, wants to see that there's been engagement with the community, which I think this community has been the most engaged I've ever seen. So we want to show that in photos or videos, whatever we can.
Thank you. Thanks for that. Appreciate it. Soon, like texturized, it's like what very important. Okay.
We'll do it.
Okay.
But we're gonna do a group photo officially, putting it out there. We'll do a group photo at the end of our last meeting.
At the end?
Or beginning,
Okay.
whichever. Just be here.
Okay. Then I do wanna open it up again for any public comments. If there's anything you wanna share, anything that we should know, any questions at all? Now's the time to do so.
I don't know. Okay. I do have one quick question just for the fun. I forgot to put it in my section. I apologize. But for those who are here for the first time, I am curious how you heard about it, if it was through the mailers or through the social media boosts. Social media or?
Volante que nos dieron en la iglesia.
Oh, okay, cabling.
They gave us a church. Sí, por eso.
See, okay.
I think the cell phone notice and email is very helpful. Because, that pops up even while I'm reading the news or watching a video or something. And if you have everybody's phone number, keep using that format. That really works for me.
Okay, great. I only asked because the funding that we received to be able to do the mailers, for next month, we only have enough to either do mailers or social media boosts. So I just wanted to get a feel for we will continue to do the text messages, the phone calls and all the other
It
stuff.
doesn't cost anything, right?
Right. It's just the additional things that we did this month,
Sure.
for next month. But if there's no preference, then I'll take that back to the team and we will strategize for next month.
Okay. Then if there are no comments, no questions, that brings our meeting to an adjournment. Thank you.
Good. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody. I'm gonna close the Zoom meeting, but thank you for joining us.
Yep.